Hello YouTube friends and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Deidre from our Upcycled Life and I do lots of thrifting, upcycling, repurposing, and DIY content. And today's video is right full of fall home decor inspiration that I've either found at the thrift store or I've upcycled it from my recycling bin. So we have lots of work. Let's get started. First project is adorable. I love the way that it turned out. I had all this scrap wood and this wooden stake, and I'm going to put it all together and make a sign for your front porch. I'm going to paint that stake with some of my black homemade chalk paint, and while I'm waiting for it to dry, I'm going to cut those scrap pieces of wood into arrows. This is really easy to do. Just use a square to get that triangle on the front, and then to get the little pieces at the back of the arrow, just flip it around and cut it the other way. And I'm going to use my jigsaw and cut these out, and it's really easy to do, really quick, and you can turn just a plain piece of wood into a beautiful arrow that looks much nicer when you turn it into a sign. And they don't have to be 100% perfect. We want to make them look a little bit rustic. I'm using some 80 grit sandpaper now, and I'm really aggressively sanding it. And because it's brand new wood, we also want to ding it up. So I took my hammer and I just banged it and made all kinds of nooks and little holes in it, just so it looks old. Now we're going to paint it all with that black homemade chalk paint. If you've been following along, you know I love my chippy paint, and this is one of my favorite techniques. It's the candle wax technique. If you haven't seen that video, I'll put a link down below in the description, and you can get a full tutorial on how to do that step by step. I've got a pillar candle from the dollar store, and I'm just aggressively covering that whole piece of wood. And then we're going to put on a coat of paint. You can use any kind of paint, chalk paint, latex paint, acrylic paint. We're going to let that dry, and then we're going to put on some more wax again, really aggressively put on another coat of paint. Let that paint dry, and then put on some more wax. And you can layer up as many colors as you want. I'm just picking out some fall colors, so this is really has fall vibes when it's all finished. And you can see all the different colors that are layered on there. I know it looks a mess right now, but just wait till it's finished. Now your very last coat, you want to end with a chalk paint. So I am using my white chalk paint, and I'm just going to dry it to speed things up with my heat gun. And that also activates the wax, because the next step, we're going to take our scraper and we're going to scrape away at that wood. And as you do, you're going to bring up all those different layers of paint. Anywhere that there was wax, after you've heated it up, it's going to scrape away that paint on top of it. And as you can see, I've taken that brand new piece of wood and I have made it look gorgeous and old and ready to turn into a sign. It's hard to believe that this was 3 pieces of brand new pine. Now we're going to turn these into signs. I'm going to use my Mod Podge reverse graphic transfer method to make these signs using my Mod Podge mat. I've printed these graphics off on my LaserJet printer, making sure to reverse the text. These graphics are available in my Etsy store if you want to grab them after you watch this video, and you can create one of these signs for yourself. We want to make sure we have them lined up exactly where we want them. We're going to set them aside and let them dry overnight. Now while we're waiting for our signs to dry, I have this rusty old rake that I saved from the dump because I knew it was going to be perfect for a fall themed sign. And I'm just going to tie it on the top of that stake. And then I had a whole bunch of fall faux flowers that I'm going to add to the top of that rake. I'm just going to kind of put it together until I think it looks pretty. And I'm going to tie on a burlap bow. When I'm at the thrift store, even if it's off season and I see florals, I always pick them up and tuck them away and then bring them out for that season, because you can always pick them up a lot cheaper, and then you have them ready when you need them and you don't have to pay full price for them. I'm just going to kind of arrange these so it looks pretty, and now it's the next day and these signs are ready to have the paper rubbed off. I'm going to dampen the paper until I can just see the graphics and then rub off all the paper. It takes a little bit of practice, but once you get it figured out, it works perfect. Sealing them up with some polyacrylic sealer, and now we're ready to attach them to that stake. Drilling some holes through the sign, and then I'm going to nail them onto that stake. And I am in love with the way that this all came together. Scrap wood, an old rake that I found in the dump, and some faux fall flowers from the thrift store. I never throw out any pieces of wood. I always try to upcycle it into something else. I had a dresser that was beyond repair. So I dismantled it all, saved all the pieces of wood, and I've kind of worked away at making them all into little signs or home decor. This was the side of one of the drawers. You can see it's got the slot in it where the bottom piece would have came out, but this is what I turned it into. The cutest little Farm Fresh pumpkin sign. I use my candle wax technique to do the layered chippy paint look on this. I'll put a link up above and down below in the description because this is so easy to create this texture on wood and then put your sign or your graphics on top of it. This graphic is available in my Etsy store. Don't forget, if you want to grab it, use the code SAVE50 and you can make this sign for yourself. Next upcycle, we are doing a peanut container that I pulled out of the recycling bin. I'm spraying it with some spray paint that's meant for plastic. Make sure you're using that or it'll peel and chip off. Once that's completely dry, I can then put on my chalk paint on top of it once we have that first layer of spray paint. Gonna paint the whole container and then set it aside and let it dry. I'm going to put my homemade napkins on this container. I've taken 1 ply of a napkin, attached it to a piece of computer paper. I'm gonna send it through my printer, print on it. We have a custom made napkin. I'm gonna cut that napkin off of that piece of computer paper, and then I'm gonna put it on a page protector. You want to lay it down, facing down on that page protector, and then I like to make the edges ragged. It just makes it blend into your project better. Just using a little bit of water and a stiff paintbrush and removing some of that napkin. We're gonna sprinkle on a little bit more water, making sure there's no wrinkles or no bubbles, get it laying nice and flat, and then take off any extra water. And we're going to put Mod Podge on the front of that peanut container once the paint's completely dried. Lay that napkin right where you want it. And the nice thing about this technique, if it's not exactly where you want it, you can pick it up and kind of move it around, opposed to just decoupaging it right on. And we now have our custom made napkin applied onto that plastic container. You can just take your fingers and just smooth it out a little bit if you need to. Now I want to put a knob on the top of the lid just to make it look a little bit more high end. Gonna drill a hole through the middle of that lid and then just attach the knob. I have a little collection of knobs just for this purpose itself, and I can just root through it and pick out one that's suiting for the project. I had these wooden cutouts that I picked up at Dollarama for $2, and I'm going to add a few of them as embellishments to the front of this container. I think this is absolutely adorable, and it's even better when it's free from the recycling bin. I hope you enjoyed today's video and you found a project that maybe inspired you and you wanted to recreate yourself. Thanks for watching, have a great day, and we'll see you in the next video. And if you love this video, I'm sure you'll love either of these two, and if you like this kind of content, I'd love for you to like, subscribe, and follow along. Have a great day.